give us some raw deals or numbers of that. So tell us was it on market, off market? How'd you find the deal? What
So it was
price was and your rehab and your refi.
Yeah. So my realtor at the time had brought me to this. It was pre-market at the time, listed 170, ended up getting it for 161, standard 20% down. And then it did appraise at 175. So I had a little bit of extra in there from the get-go. I was all into it with the down payment for 83.2. And I ended up pulling out about 85.7 at the tail end of it on that refi. And luckily rates were still somewhat low. So my PITI at the end of that was 14.55, up the rent from 17 to 19.50. So I didn't quite get that full 300 that I wanted. But then I also decided to, within the following few months, I was able to kind of optimize that property a little bit. I got hooked up with Dennis Nolan, who's a tax assessment appeal attorney. And we were able to knock off $1,200 on the taxes on that property. So that saves me, another $100 a month. And then after all the new electrical and the new plumbing and the new HVAC system, my insurance premium got cut in half. So my insurance went from $900 down to $430 for that entire house. So that jacks those back up. I mean, now I've got my PITI closer to 13.16 and my rents are still at 19.50. So I've got a pretty nice little leeway in there for reserves. Comes to a little over 600. Is it a home run cash flow wise? No. I mean, in my book, but for a single family home that lands in, Geneva school districts, it's always going to stay full. And those tenants have been in there 7 years. Now they're going on 9 years. And they really don't want to move. So, I mean, eliminating that turnover cost and being responsive with them has caused them to want to stay.
I would call that a home run in that market.
You have all your money back and you've taken care of a lot of mechanical issues down the road. Like it's sitting pretty there.
Yeah. Like a lot of people listening would call that a home run there. Like,
I mean, you always hear about those home runs.
I'll be part of any of your average shields then. Let me put that out there right now.
Yeah. If you can return all my cash to me in 9 months and sit on a building,
yeah. No problem.
A lot of lessons on the GC side too, though. There was definitely a lot of, that was my first value add. I mean, buying turnkeys, come on, it's a lot easier. You close, you rent it, and you're good.
Now on the GC side, though, you pretty much acted as the GC. So you put that.
I did not.
So you hired someone and they did the whole GC and you just kind of.
So I did manage to find a GC who is a working GC. So he does do a lot of the carpentry work, a lot of the framing work, does contract house stuff, obviously, but he was a working GC. So it wasn't just I'm going to come pop in on your project once a week kind of GC, which was definitely taken into account when I was running the numbers on it. And, the initial estimate for the rehabs, we're at 25,000, 28, 29. So, I mean, we were right in that ballpark. So we wound up almost, 20,000 more than that. And it's plumbing issues that were incorrectly done in the past, stuff that wasn't up to code, stuff that I wanted to eliminate any sort of fire risk. And on top of that, I'm finishing a lower unit. And so with my other rentals, I've learned I hate water. I absolutely hate water. So any sort of water remediation, protective I can do on a lower level of a house, I'm going to do it. So I redid a lot of the plumbing and we installed an injection pit. And as you guys know, you got to dig up some concrete down there. I mean, there's some scope of work changes that came up as to how in depth we want to go with waterproofing everything. Because you don't want to go dump, that level of money into it and then have it fall apart with a whole bunch of water damage. I mean, overall, I do think that was, a home run for my first value add. Absolutely. Before that, I was very timid about going into that value add because it's a very complex structure, as you guys know. I mean, you're kind of combining a flip with a buy and hold. And there's a lot of avenues, especially with that cash out, where things can go a little wrong at the end if you don't have those ARV numbers completely correct.